Okay, we're back. After a short break. Now, where was that at on the map? I want to say it was over here. Yeah, okay. Alright, let's get to it. Now, this obviously is going to involve traversing over Aether Fire. Like, no duh, right? Yeah, crud. There we go. Which that's going to burn a lot of our constitution, just getting in here. Now, we could blow down that door, that would not be a good idea. Now, the quarters here are going to be kind of cramped to fight in, naturally. I don't like that. I tried to do the dodge thing there, and it just, my guy dodged in place. I don't know what causes that bug, but I wish they'd fix it. Nice. Oh, that was creepy. Alright. Now then, like I said, I kind of, well, first, yeah, I like that a lot. I think that's very good. I'm going to keep that. I want to get these two leveled up to where they're both at 25% at a minimum, so that we get two 25% rolls on our in our attack rotation, like I explained earlier, our rotation being each cycle of cadence. So 1, 2, 3, right? So if you imagine a pie graph again, split into 3 co-equals, like as with a peace sign, that circle everything in it, all 3 parts, right? Imagine it's top left is 1, top right is 2, bottom is 3 of that pie. The whole thing is the rotation or the cycle. Now 3 is always going to be cadence. 1 and 2 are where our on attack abilities can be triggered. Now if we get both to 25%, we've got 2 25% rolls each time we shoot in 1 and 2, right? 1 and 2 in the cycle, right? So that means that we'll have a pretty decent chance at having every attack for a lot of our cycles be some kind of enhanced physical damage attack, which is really splendid. That's kind of what we want. Because the more physical damage we're doing, the more elemental damage we're doing. You know, it's one into the other. We're committing damage laundering. It's like money laundering, except we're doing it with damage. And we're laundering it to, yeah, that metaphor starts breaking down real quickly. It's like we're embezzling, right? And we take that embezzlement and we put it in a different portfolio. And that portfolio is in a different sector. And that sector has different percentages on the... Look, I don't know what the heck I'm talking about, okay? You get the idea. So we're like laundering our physical damage into elemental damage to get the elemental damage percentages at a certain percent such that it will come out better. We'll have more elemental damage coming out of our gun than the physical damage that's converted to make it. By hopefully a decent margin. Yeah. Ah, my ear. Because, I mean, I've said it before, the way that we've got this cooking, assuming we're safe. Now, we've got 33% physical going into elemental, and then plus 10% for it to be 43. Now, let's let's round that down, right, into 40%. So say we do 1,000 physical damage. It comes out as 600. Now, assuming that everything works as stated, right? I don't know the background calculations, so don't take my word on this as gospel. I'm just saying that this is how it looks from me just looking at it in the character, like, in the stat screen from what's said in here, right? So, say we do 1,000 damage, at a physical damage and it hits. That is turned into, let's again round everything down. We're rounding the 43 into 40. It comes out as 600 physical and 400 elemental. Now, if we look at the buff that's always on, it's plus 100% elemental damage. Okay? So it comes out as 600, 400, and then that 400 goes through that 100% and gets turned into 800. So we have effectively turned our damage into 60%, like 60% physical and 80% elemental of our 100% physical damage. I'm like putting my fingers together and apart. I know you can't see that, but it helps me think. So that's kind of the laundering business that we're in here, is trying to get our elemental damage, because our physical damage is going to be stupendous. We're going to be doing a ton of physical damage. So we might as well try to launder that into elemental damage and make us do like a ton of elemental damage and still have a decent amount of physical, right? That's kind of what we're going for with this guy. And I might put another 10% into elemental just for that extra bit, because 10% into elemental is a 20% increase, right? Because of the Iskandra's elemental exchange plus 100% elemental damage effect. I think that's worth it. And I might actually do that on the next level up. Like, I think it's worth it. Whenever I say I think that's worth it, I'm not talking about the elemental damage directly. I'm saying I think it's worth consideration, because that is a very big increase in how the damage calculations are going to be done. Again, assuming that all things are as stated, like taking everything prima facie, like that should be really, 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 really good by the time we finish skilling our character out. Because again, like, dude, that's a lot of damage.
Can't do that.
And that also means that every percentage increase of physical damage is technically a double percentage increase, right, of elemental damage. So if we get plus 10% physical, that's plus 20% elemental, right? Does that make sense? I mean, not one-to-one, right? But, like, follow me here. I guess that was a bad way to put it. Like, follow me here, okay? If you go from 1,000, say it's 50%, it goes 500 physical and then 1,000 elemental, right? From the 500 physical, 500 elemental, double it to 1,000. Say you've got 1,500. Now you get 750 physical, 1,500 elemental. That is a 50% increase. So yeah, I guess, yeah, that's kind of a heady way to think about it. That's a lot of damage. So for that plus 500 physical, you're getting plus 250 physical, plus 750 elemental. Do you get me? Like, if to make that clear, like the kind of stupid, like giga brain, galaxy brain plan I'm going for here, that may or may not work. By the way, Venarius, the Backbreaker, this guy is exactly what he looks like. Dangerous. He's dangerous. Oh yeah, I have way less ethereal resistance than I thought. Thankfully, he shows up in a kind of wide open area. Excellent. Alright. Let's get that Aether Shard. Now, who we're actually after is over here. I'm just happy for the dynamite, honestly.
That skill's not ready.
That lady should be somewhere around here. Oh, I already got it. Wow, okay. Well, I feel a little dim then. Rip. Let's get on back to the necromancers. Now, I'm not entirely sure what the reward for these quests is, other than, like, XP. I'm not sure if you get anything spectacular out of it. But, I mean, the XP is really good. Have you dealt with Noviria? I have gathered her essence, apparently. So we got Chilled Steel and 250 Order of Death's Vigil reputation. Excellent work. I was worried that she may have been too much for you, but you have proven to be quite resourceful. There is but one final piece we still require to bring back Malkadar, but that is not for me to discuss. Speak with the Keeper when you are able. She will have the details. The Keeper. The Keeper of Tomes, guardian of the Order's knowledge. She has become the Order's de facto leader after Uraburuk's disappearance. Uraburuk is gone? Yes, sadly our master left us several years ago. To what end, we do not know. He left us no information as to his departure, nor has he tried to contact anyone within the Order. Has anyone gone after him? Yes, quite a few. Some never returned, dead or still searching. Before the Grim Dawn, our accomplished acolytes would set out into the world for a year in order to search for our master. It was a rite of passage of sorts. Perhaps he will return someday. Okay. So the next one we talk to is this person. Master Varuk speaks highly of your contributions. The Order values the Legion's assistance. And yours. But by now I am sure you are eager to see the culmination of your efforts. However, one last thing remains before we can return Malkadar to us. I have some questions. If I know the answer, you shall have it. What can you tell me about the Order's history? The Order was founded 313 years ago by our immortal master, Uraburuk, in order to preserve knowledge and pursue the study of necromancy. Before the Order, necromancy was nearly lost to the world and art persecuted to near extinction. You may have heard of the Curse of Arkovia. That was our master's retribution for the systematic elimination of necromancers. Following the Arkovian tragedy, Uraburuk wandered the world in seclusion for many centuries. He resurfaced a little over 3 centuries ago, swearing to restore the art of necromancy and to ingrain the pursuit of knowledge and life's mysteries into a new generation. Today the Order is comprised primarily of arcanists and occultists disillusioned and persecuted by Erlan society, though we do welcome those who do not have the arcane gift. Uraburuk's teachings encourage tolerance and understanding, after all. Who is Uraburuk? Tales of Uraburuk have existed for centuries. None know for sure at what distant time and place he was born, or if Uraburuk is even his original name. What we do know is that Uraburuk was central to the tales of Arkovia's downfall many centuries ago. Under decree of the Arkovian oligarchs, all suspected practitioners of the necromantic art were to be taken to the steppes of torment, a vile prison, where doomed men were left to rot in the darkness of the depths of the earth. Uraburuk, who then had a powerful following in Arkovia, was betrayed and handed over to the Arkovian torturers. However, he was not like any man they had ever met. It seemed Uraburuk could not die, his skin would not burn, and his wounds would not bleed. Unsurprisingly, this drew the attention of the oligarchs who craved such power for themselves. Under their command, Uraburuk was subjected to the most brutal and imaginative forms of torture ever conceived. His immortality had worked against him. Ultimately, our master agreed to their demands and offered to perform the ritual which would make the oligarchs immortal. The oligarchs had assumed his will broken and greedily accepted. Indeed, Ouroboros granted the people of Arkovia the immortality they so craved, but it came in the form of the devious curse. They still suffered from the ravages of time, but the merciful release of death would not come. They became trapped within their physical forms, even as their bodies disintegrated and turned to dust. The remnants of the once great Arkovian Empire still roam the world as mindless ghouls and tortured spirits. Centuries later, Ouroboros would create the Order of Death's Vigil so that our knowledge would never again be threatened by the ignorant. He taught several generations of our people before mysteriously leaving us in the middle of the night a few years before the grim dawn struck. Your master left you. Yes, we do not know why or where. Perhaps he had ascended his time on Cairn concluded. There's a mention of ascension there, which is why I'm going through all this crud. Yes. So as we saw in the, as I hinted at in the devotion screen, and kind of in the ascended category, the purple stuff, in its description, things ascend to the celestial vault in Grim Dawn, and that's kind of like what they're hinting at here, is that maybe he's a constellation and we just haven't seen him yet, you know. Anyway, I believe that he is still out there, though, traveling the world in search of enlightenment. Yeah, anyway, what did you need me to do? Underneath Fort Icon to the north, there is a crypt dedicated to an ancient faith. Therein lies the tomb of Archon Bartolom, a once powerful priest. The Archon was cremated upon death, his ashes stored within a sacred urn. In order to bring back Malkadar, we must gather these ashes. They will serve as the core of his revenant body. Unfortunately, Kaiman's Chosen have already moved in on the crypt, declaring its contents sacred to their misguided faith. We will have to take these ashes from them by force. The Order is already advancing on the crypt as we speak. I need you to spearhead the attack. Wipe them out and claim the ashes for the Order. I will gather the ashes. Okay. Wow, that was a lot of talking. I'm a little lightheaded from all that out loud reading. Holy crap. Okay. Let's put that point into physique. Let's sell this stuff. Yeah. Okay, we'll learn that. Sell all this stuff. We don't need all this extra stuff. Excellent. Wait. Yes, okay. I thought I saw another scroll in our inventory, and it's like, you know, there's no reason not to just hit Y on those if you're playing on controller, right-click them and learn them immediately. Right? So. And you can get dupes, like duplicates. If you get a duplicate, like, just throw it on the ground or something. Like, there's no reason to keep duplicates as far as I'm aware of the scrolls that you learn stuff from. Anywho, let's get back there. Fill out the map on the northeastern side. Motion sickness, motion sickness warning. Okay. Okay, there really shouldn't be much else to this side of the map, but we'll just clear that little blot out. Just get up here and... oh, okay, there is still some stuff up here. Okay. These are Kaiman's Chosen up here, I think. Yeah. Nope. Bloodsworn adjutants. Yeah, there definitely was some Kaiman's Chosen, folks. Ah, my ear. Ah. Okay. 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 I'm not sure if there's anything like at Fort Aaron that's necessary to do. I have no idea what any of those debuffs do. Like those status effects down here. Okay. I forgot that this was like a whole ordeal up here. I thought it just ended at the... Yeah, I didn't realize this was a whole thing. Let me look at that quest. Fort Icon, yeah. This is Fort Harem. I'm not sure there's anything valuable here. Ah, my other ear. Ah. Ooh, goodness. That's a lot of damage. Yeah, you know, I'm gonna look on the shrines page. Village of Darkvale. The Conflagration, Stone-Rimmed Quarry. Wait, where's Stone-Rimmed? What was that about? Hold on. Hold on, hold on. I somehow missed a devotion shrine. Hold on. Hold the phone. Hold on. There ain't one here. But there is one over there, apparently. What the heck? That cannot be allowed. Let me go ahead and, let me go to the Steam community guide. I will shout out the person who made it again. Luzifus. Here you go. Luzifus Devotion Shrines. You should totally give them a thumbs up and all of that stuff for their good work on that guide. It is a really cool guide. And my ear. My ear. Yes, you should totally give them, you know. Stone-Rimmed Quarry. Wow, I walked right past it. I am dim. Wow, I am hyper mega dim. Okay, I walked right past it.
That skill's not ready.
Blind as a bat. Goodness. Oh, I'm also going the wrong way. Excuse me, gentlemen. I will leave you in the tender hands of the necromancers. Here we go, here we go, here we go. Let's just pretend that we can't smell our boots burning as we move through here. Ah, my... Ah. Holy crap. Seriously, I think it's my, like... I think I got a shave or something. Like, somehow it's my beard hair on my, sideburns getting in there or something. It's, like, tickling my ear. Yeah, how did I miss this? It says right here. I'm looking at it. Oh, wow. Okay, that was really bad. Hold on. Hold on. Ugh. I gotta put my whole headset down. Do not use Q-tips. Don't use Q-tips, folks. Ah. That was like catastrophically bad. Wow. That was like one of the worst ones in a while. Ugh. I do wonder what causes that. Alright. Panic over. Okay, hopefully, you know, still recording and all that. Anyway, Stone Rune Quarry is supposed to be like right there. Oh, this is one that isn't there on normal. Okay, wow, sorry guys. Wow. Wow, okay, I'm still dim. I am hyper dim. Okay. Den of the Lost. I think I've got all of them so far actually. Yes. Yes, okay. I believe I have gotten them all so far then. Okay. Yeah, like right here is where it's at. So you could tell that, I mean, it even looks like it, like you could tell that that's where it's supposed to be, but no, some of them aren't available. I think I've mentioned this before. Some of them aren't available on, like, certain difficulties. The vast majority of them are available on normal. And obviously, if you unlock them on one difficulty, you unlock them on all difficulties. Right. Like, you still keep them whenever you go through difficulties. Anyway, so that means that we've got a long way to trek over here to get up to here, northward, north-ish, to the village of Darkvale. You know, that does kind of look like the. I'm not saying the one or the other, because convergence in art and all that. And I mean, I could get into that in the whole thing, but that does kind of remind me of the Darkest Dungeon stress symbol. Now let's try to fill out the map. Fill out the map out here. I think we basically have everything done up to this point. Quests and such and what have you. Most of them. Okay, let's go ahead and get that little spot on the map filled out. Wow. You know, I've said it before, but you wouldn't think that just a few weeks without constant protection would lead to freaking manticores showing up, right? I mean, again, it gives this idea that the Empire was just always just, I mean, literally a couple weeks away from just turning into a completely unlivable place. It makes you wonder how much effort it took to establish their empire in the first place, right? I mean, goodness. Like, imagine how bad that must be, that it only took a couple of weeks of things not working for the trains to stop showing in on time. For the trains to stop rolling in on time, rather. For manticores to show up and take over. Like, dude. Like, how many manticores a week did they have to kill to maintain peace? You gotta wonder, right? Here's Trevor's note. Okay, well, Trevor had the right idea, kinda. Now, Darkvale is going to have some... By the way, as you can see, you can't get across from one to the other, which means if you're kind of hoping that you could get, you know, over here from over there, shorter, yeah, you're kind of out of luck. Oh, hello. Oh, goodness. Wow, that's a packed house, isn't it? Yo, that's the lightning I was talking about. Notice how much that took off, and I have 71% resistance. Well, there's Avalyn's note. Part 3? Wow, okay. Yep. So that happened. That escalated quickly. I feel like we lost a lot of context given by page 2 of that. Huh? Yeah. Now, I'm not sure how you get those pages. I mean, they seem almost like a random drop. I know some of the notes are indeed random loot, like semi-random loot. I mean, obviously you get them from certain creatures like all other loot. You know, like, I'm sure that everything else... Whenever I say all other loot, I mean in games in general, right? Not just, not in this game. I'm not sure what the drop tables in this game are like. Oh, there you go. You can see how that thing zaps. That thing does a ton of damage. Honestly, those crystals are the reason why I wanted to get a ton of chaos resistance. But, anyway, you know, it's semi-random. I'm not sure what the drop tables in this game are like, but it's semi-random, and it comes from, specific enemies. I think even specific enemies, not just, like, any enemy of the faction that the node is related to, but also specific enemies within that faction. I could be wrong on that, but that's what I seem to vaguely recall from the last time I looked it up. Anyway, Mayor Bridgewater's journal. Okay. So, we're getting a lot of lore about the Cult of Cthon in this town, and we will. This is actually... I thought it was in Act 4, but I had misremembered that this was coming a lot sooner. That we get this, like, note coming up that... Well, series of notes that kind of explains what's going on with the Chthonics. And why they're doing what they do, and what they expect to have happen, and what their goal is, and all that stuff. Now, the village of Darkvale is an especially dangerous place because you've got those buttholes that cast death lightning at seemingly random. Also, this is where they start summoning those crystals that do, again, tons of damage. Peacekeeper Chambra's journal. Check that out. Yep. I mean, again, there's not really much to say that the notes aren't saying. You know, it kind of gives the idea that the Grim Dawn didn't take place all at once everywhere, that it sort of first erupted in the capital, and then things kind of made their way, and if I'm not mistaken, the capital is Malmuth. If I'm not mistaken, I think Malmuth is the capital. But like, that the capital went up in murder and violence and all sorts of awfulness, and the Grim Dawn kind of spread out from there. Right? Zarya's journal. Now notice that her, as a follower of Cthon, say that those who believe in the false gods, right? Like, that's kind of a thing going around in this setting, is that, you know, it's kind of like the concept of a guy being an atheist in D&D. You know what I mean? It's a little silly like that. You know, an atheist in D&D is kind of, you know, it's that level of goofy for someone to be like, yes, they're false gods in Grim Dawn. right? But it is a thing, and the Chthonics, as we've seen from some of the evidence thus far, actually have a reason to at least view the other deities as illegitimate. Perhaps not to view them as utterly false, because that's kind of dim in the realm that we're talking about. Because in Grim Dawn, like, they have a manifest and observable pantheon of deities, right? Like, it's not even a joke. Like, they just have deities that exist. What is interesting is we'll get into once we get the next note that sort of elucidates the rest of the story. Oh, we're not getting that. Which we should get somewhere around here. I'm not sure if it's in this section of houses or... I think it's in the next area. I'm going to drop a portal here in case I get obliterated, which may very well happen. Because this is where we're going to see at least one more lightning caller, which is going to stink if I get zapped into goo. Yeah, the bathhouse, that's another one. That's the one that I was deliberating on if we were going to find it in this area or the area, or if I had already passed it. So here's another note, the bathhouse. Let's look at that. Now, it's important to remember that they're not just collecting all this blood for religious rites, they're also collecting it for a different reason that we'll find out later. Now, here's another desecrated shrine. We're going to have to... Remember, by the way, this guy. This guy right here, that's not just a cool motif. This guy's important. Okay? Anyway. Let's go ahead and fight our way through this, hopefully. Without too much difficulty. Nice. Now, as before, we want to, as said before, rather, we want to get the crane, right? And then after crane, crab. Ah, my ear. So we got Zarya's journal earlier. This is Zarya up here. Zarya the Carver. She can do some stuff, which ain't great. Namely, she can summon those stupid things that do a ton of damage. That done a ton of damage, yeah. That do a ton of damage. As you can see, though, we're kind of, Yeah, you see that zap? Ugh. Anyway, there's another note of hers. Part 3, I think? No, part 2, okay. Oh, hey! Nice. Harvested for the ritual. I wonder what the ritual might mean. Now, somewhere up here we should find, or at least I thought we would find, a certain manuscript. I guess we didn't. Maybe it's in the next area? Now here's Dark Veil Gate. This is the next area. So, in keeping with that, I'm going to cut the recording here after we go back and sell some stuff. I don't think I got it. Wrong slider bar. Okay. Yeah, I didn't get it yet. That's okay. We've got a bunch of stuff to sell. Well, well.
What brings you to my
Come see what's left of my wares.
I think for right now, we can comfortably just sell all of the stuff we get, because, like, I'm gonna be real here. 40% elemental resistance, 32% chaos resistance. I think I might keep that. +2 to deadly momentum. Plus 54% physical, plus 40% fire, plus... Yeah, I'll just sell it. Just to heck with it. I just don't feel like keeping stuff. Okay. With that out of the way,
See you around.
no. I should go sell that ring down there. Sell that.
See anything you like? Hired well.
Okay, let's teleport back, and then I'll cut the recording here, and then I'll be back in a sec. And we'll get through Dark Veil Gate. Motion sickness warning. Okay, there we go.